Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today I'm covering Emily in Paris, Season 1, Episode 9, An American Auction in Paris. Oh, such a good episode. We have this episode and Episode 10 to go over, and I can't wait to talk about it all. I am loving this series, and I can't wait to discuss it with you guys. So let's get into it. Hey guys, I just want to take a second and say if you're enjoying this show, please check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Real Housewives Recaps, or check the comments below and I'll put a link. And for $1 a week, you can support my show and get 4 bonus episodes per month. I'm covering Scary Island, like the greatest season of Real Housewives of New York. So check it out. Thanks so much. So the episode starts out showing Chicago, and we see Cubs win and a huge celebration. And I thought, did Emily go back home or something? But no, it's part of an advertising campaign. So if you remember in the last embarrassing episode for her, she went out to Camille's chateau to see the champagne, which they named Champagne. And they've decided this is going to be a celebration champagne that they can spray on people, and that's her marketing campaign. So she's trying to pitch it to Sylvie, and I'm growing to love Luke. Sometimes you hear me call him Hare, but his name's Luke, and he's so much fun. So Sylvie's still being a bitch. I'm liking Luke much more, and I am obsessed with Julian. I just think he has the best personality. He's so much fun. He comes to tell Sylvie that Antoine is calling, and Sylvie will not take the call because she's still pissed at him. Meanwhile, Emily gets a call to come have lunch with this lady who's in charge of American Friends of the Louvre. So basically what happens is this woman calls her, and she's American as well. She says, I know you work for Pierre. Do you think there's any way Pierre would donate a dress for the American Friends of the Louvre? Emily says, first of all, he's wonderful and very charitable. And she starts to think about it and says, well, maybe it would get him a lot of press. She decides she's going to help. So she calls up the Pierres and gets a hold of the nephew. And he says, text me the address of where you'll be tonight. And she's like, oh, well, I'm going to a gallery opening. He says, text me the address. So he basically invites himself, puts her in a weird position. And I know we're supposed to like this guy, but I find him a little bit slimy. We'll get into that more. So it's that evening. They have Camille's gallery event. Camille's going to meet with Sylvie, and they're going to discuss, the champagne and all that. Camille says she's excited to meet the scary boss, and Gabrielle says, I've met her. She's not so bad. So we meet Sylvie and Luke, and that's when Matthew, who is Pierre's nephew, shows up. And he says Emily asked to meet him there, so Sylvie gets the complete wrong impression. He's putting his hand on her, and Gabrielle is getting jealous and noticing, oh, Gabrielle, you're so much cuter than Matthew. Emily seems to just be enjoying the attention, and Sylvie is like, she just can't stop working, just making all these digs at Emily. Camille shows them around. Luke sees everything is sexual. And Sylvie's just being a bitch. That's literally what I wrote in my notes. Sylvie's being a bitch. Camille asks what's up with Matthew. And they explain that he's rich and he dates celebrities. Emily explains that he's her client, not a boyfriend. And Matthew then asks Emily to go to dinner. So they all kind of smirk about that. He takes her for crepes. They take a nice walk down this beautiful Paris street. And they stop at a window because she notices this gray space. So this is going to come up a lot. There's a 900 euro hoodie that they're selling. They're not even releasing where they're going to be. They're just selling them. And Emily asking about Pierre's clothing. And Matthew explains that they've worked together since he was in university. They talk about the past. Emily explains that the Americans for the Louvre is asking for a donation of a dress, and he says, come by the atelier tomorrow and we'll see if there's something that works. And he kisses her on the cheeks and on the hand. Then we see these beautiful shots of Paris. I just love seeing this. It's the next day. She's at her office. She's Googling the people that Matthew has dated. So no good can come from that. Sylvie says it was weird to see her and Matthew together last night with the corporate rules about not dating clients. Well, she explains, no, we're not dating. He's donating to the AFL auction, and it's a big event with lots of press invited. We just can't be happy for Emily. She just continues to be a bitch, and we see it more and more, and it's kind of hard to watch. We go over to the event, and it's a great turnout. It's an auction, and everybody's excited. And they suddenly spot these weird people in the audience, and Sylvie and the host have no idea who they are. So Emily has to explain, oh no, that's Gray Space. That's good news that they showed up for the event. And Sylvie's being such a bitch about it, but Emily's like, no, this is good. It's young and hip, and this is important for the brand. So time goes on. She's getting ready for the event, and Matthew shows up, and it turns out they don't have a model for the dress. She's backed out. So, oh no, what are they going to do? So Matthew has an idea, and we'll see it play out in just a little bit here, where Emily ends up having to wear the dress. So they start the auction, and people are bidding a lot of money on things, and then it's time for the last piece. It's the dress. So Emily is the only human being to pull this off. She looks stunning, and everybody's looking at her. They start the bidding, and starts at 10,000 euros, and Gray Space just keeps bidding on it. So it goes higher and higher. And the dress ends up selling to Gray Space for 38,000 euros. And Emily is so excited. She's saying congratulations, and they're making a big deal about it. Well, Gray Space comes up, and what do? They point this paintball gun at her, and they fire black paint all over the dress. So she's shocked, and Pierre pretty much has a meltdown and freaks out, and that's how the evening ends. He's clutching onto Matthew, and Emily's like, oh crap, what just happened? So it's the next morning, and beautiful shot of Paris. Emily wakes up, she's getting ready for work, and she sees 27 missed calls and all these text messages. And even Gabriel comes by to check on her. He brings her a newspaper that shows her at Fashion Week being sprayed with gray paint. And she's sad and just worried about the day and trying to convince her to stay home and skip the day. And she says, I wish I could. And he says, me too. Whew, so cute. So back at the office, Emily's still looking at pictures of what happened last night and all the press that's going on. Sylvie storms in and is like, this is bad. And Emily's trying to quote the growth numbers to her, and that Pierre's more part of the conversation now than ever. And Sylvie's like, what is the conversation? If we lose this client, even Chicago office will want to get rid of you. So poor Emily, so much stress, so much on her right now. So she's walking, and she runs into the Gray Space secret location. She walks in, and she's like, hey guys, remember me? And they try to tell her, hey, it's a performance art. That's the intention. Emily says, well, there's something you can do for me, and we don't get to see what that something is quite yet. Meanwhile, Pierre has had a full-blown meltdown. He's pouting, he's being dramatic in his bed, he's cracking creme brulee, which was kind of funny to see. Emily goes to apologize about the auction, and he gets Emily to crack a creme brulee with him, and Emily's saying it might help us if we try to shift our perspective. She shows him a hoodie with his logo sprayed on it, and explains that people like them because they're fearless, and it's about taking down barriers to fashion. Pierre says it's about being beautiful, and this is not beautiful. This is a disgrace. And it just ends not well. Emily has to leave, and she's upset, and she goes down the stairs, and she runs into Matthew, and she's telling him she thinks she made it worse. And he's saying, you know what French did when the bombs fell in World War II? They made love. Excuse me, I have a fashion show to work on. So he's trying to encourage her to stay positive, but things aren't good. This was a tough one to watch because so much stuff happened, and it was a good episode, but I don't understand why they're blaming Emily for this Gray Space fiasco. She didn't ask them to do this. They sought her out. So I think it's a little unfair that Sylvie's, she's just a bitch. She holds everything against Emily, but I don't understand why Pierre is as well. It's not her fault. So that's it for the episode. Another great episode. I can't wait for the last episode to talk about our thoughts all about the series. I'm really enjoying it. It's so much fun to watch. I love the fashion. I love Paris. It's just gorgeous. But I think Lily Collins is doing an excellent job as Emily. So much fun. So that is it. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. Leave me a comment below. I love the comments. You can comment here or find me on Twitter @RealRecaps. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks again. Bye-bye.